Ask Reddit by price. What is the most fucked up thing that happened in Reddit? The woman in legal advice who was being investigated by CPS while pregnant with her first child, which is not something CPS does. Here it was not a real caseworker and just a woman tried to steal her baby. Wait, what? I would say the woman that found out her husband and father of her 4 kids was also the father of her mother's twins, her half-brothers, and her husband had been fucking her mother since he was like 18. That was a wild fucking ride. This is definitely not as bad as some of these posts, but it stuck with me pretty bad cause I'm passionate about taking good care of our pets. I'm pretty active in our chameleons, and this girl a while back posted photos of her animal asking for advice. She talked about how her chameleon hadn't had a bowel movement in months. In the photos you can clearly see this poor baby was so severely impacted and bloated that their solidified GI tract had stabbed through their flesh like a little pinky finger poking through their rib cage. I was shocked and scrolled to the next photo thinking it was another angle or something. Turns out it was a photo that was more recent. It was worse. So much worse. The wound was now the size of a nickel and you could clearly see this poor baby's internal organs. Its intestines were hanging out and angling outside of it. It was fucked. I couldn't believe that poor thing was still alive and kicking. I still have no clue how that's possible. I took screenshots of it and considered reporting them for animal abuse, but they deleted their post and account before I could get more info on them to make the report. It was awful. Was everyone's advice to take the chameleon to the vet? Did she listen? That parasite man who loved being covered in parasites, breeding parasites, and worst of all infecting others, and lonely. Worst of all, he referred to them as his children. I hope that shit was fake. I'm sorry, what? One that sticks with me recently is the one where the woman found out her husband was sleeping with her mother and her twin brothers were actually her husband's kids. Wasn't the husband groomed at 15-17ish to date the daughter so her mother would have sexual access to him? Fucked. The one where the daughter of a crack addict who had an abusive boyfriend flushed the supply and listened to the boyfriend beat her mom to death while she hid her little sister. The man who posted about his wife cheating on him. The wife was real nasty about it when he confronted her and even made him apologize for outing her lover to his wife. The man posts on Reddit, "What should I do? This is still bothering me." Reddit, of course, leave that bitch ASAP. So he files for divorce. The day he tells her, the crazy wife then murders their 2 small children while he is asleep in the basement. He updated Reddit a few days later with what happened. It was national news. The only reason I know about it is because I watched a Reddit vid on it a few weeks ago. Imagine being that psychotic that not only do you blame your infidelity on your spouse, but when he has enough of your shit you murder your own children in spite. That poor man and amp, those kids never stood a chance with a soul as black as that. One that sticks with me was a guy confessing he was having a surgery with a poor chance of survival and hadn't told his family. The comments obviously flooded support and OP promised to update everyone after surgery but never did. I checked back again and again for a year just in case, but I don't think they made it. I recently saw a post in a similar vein of a 15-year-old going into surgery with like a 20% survival chance. Only he did update and survive. Dude was so bright and aware of his situation and accepting that he might not make it. IDK if it counts, but the suspect in the Idaho murders posted a survey on here for former convicts to fill out. It's pretty chilling to me because it's almost like he was studying how to commit the perfect murder and it was so easy to masquerade it as research. The guy who made that long post about how he tried heroin for fun and ended up getting addicted ruined his whole life in the span of a few posts. The whole entirety of gore subreddits, the now banned Watch People Die, and some of the sexual subreddits that revolve around disturbing fetishes. I believe there was an update made not long ago in regards to the heroin post saying they've been clean for a minute and turned their life back around. I'll try to find the link. It's definitely a relief after knowing the steep downhill ride they went on. Edit. Found it. H name equals I asked. The one, besides the ones already mentioned, that stuck with me was a story a few years back that was happening on 4chan and being posted in real time to Reddit. I didn't see it on 4C but followed this on Reddit as it was happening. A guy went to his girlfriend's house, had rough sex with her, beat her brutally and then strangled her to death, wrote stuff all over her body and left her in a particularly grotesque and revealing position specifically so that her autistic son, 13 if I recall, would find her like that. Evidently he smashed her face in and killed the cat as well. He was describing what he did to her, posting pictures of her as she was dying dead. Of all the things he said, it was she fought so damn hard that did me in. That and being haunted by that poor kid finding his mother like that. That Pose filed an appeal in 2020 trying to shorten his sentence on technicalities but thankfully it was struck down. OMG, I randomly think of this one and get terrified for my daughter. It's much worse than I remembered apparently. I too remember the line she fought so damn hard. There was a guy who did a true off my chest where he talks about making friends with this guy at his gym. Ended up bringing him home for dinner and the guy's wife literally had a breakdown because apparently this new friend of her husband's was actually a man who had previously raped stalked her in the past. Wife ended up going to stay with friend's family. Post got deleted. Not sure if there was ever any update. Was on best of Redditor updates recently. The man never saw his wife again. The friend was in fact looking for the woman and knew he was her husband. Husband was so regretful he didn't recognize friend. The kid who killed himself as a teenager after being tormented at school for smelling like fesses all the time. His dad had been pimping him out since he was 4 so he was completely tore up. It is literally the saddest, most disgusting thing I have ever seen on this site and can't even bring myself to talk about it, even with close friends. Nobody should have to know that sort of evil exists and only reason I'm sharing it here is to answer the question. I think it's an important reminder that you're almost guaranteed to be sex trafficked by someone you know and are close to than being snatched off the streets. Not sure if it's the same, but the fact that a woman was posting often about her large family, and then her account went quiet, and it turned out that her two sons had killed the family and planned to then go on and kill a bunch of others. The baby sister was spared, and another sister played dead so she could wait it out and survived? Really messed up story. Edit. The Bever family. So messed up and so sad. Edit 2. The Broken Arrow murders. There's info on wiki, and some comments below explain more. I was going off of memory when I commented and was half asleep. The Broken Arrow killings. Heard about it in an AskReddit thread. There was one on relationship advice where a guy was asking how to deal with his paranoid wife after she made friends with a fellow mum who suggested his working long hours was him cheating. He wrote a few posts where he detailed this friend being an issue, then how to deal with his wife when she got physically abusive. Eventually he took the kids, put her in some sort of psychiatric facility and she got out and killed herself. Final post was him saying how the friend that kicked it all off wanted to say words at her funeral and he didn't want her there at all. I think of this one often. It was a new mom. OP had taken on a big project at work so he was working a lot. Wife's BFF was putting ideas in her head. OP came home once to find wife had taken off with BFF and left the baby home alone. Found her, baby, crying, soiled and hungry if I remember correctly. OP left wife, she drove into a tree and died. The woman who walked in her house in the middle of the day only to hear moaning and sex sounds. When she walked to see what was going on she found her daughter and husband having sex. The worst part was the daughter was begging her not to do anything because she loved her dad. Her dad had groomed her from a young age so she had no clue how wrong it all was. That is sick. My friend caught her 17. She turned 18-year-old granddaughter in bed with her 55-year-old boyfriend and the kid admitted it had been going on for 10 years. Cops were called in October but nothing has been done. She confiscated the kid's phone and found dozens of disgusting sexual love messages which were also turned into police. The super fucked up part is the girl is learning disabled and very pretty. I hate the fact that he is free and police won't arrest him. I hate the fact that I have many mutual friends with him who see nothing wrong with this. The one that still gets me is the video of the woman whose legs were basically hamburger after she was hit by a car, and she's in complete shock sitting up and laughing with the other people around her, and no one is doing anything about her legs. A similar one I saw which sticks with me, a woman had crashed her scooter into a truck or something. Her head was split in half and some guys had to pick what was left of her up to get her off the road. I saw the pieces of her head flopping around and bleeding all over the place. It was pretty fucked up. The worst part though was seeing the comments where everyone was talking about her ass cause of where the camera was positioned. I'd say the one where the woman lost her child because her own mother used coconut hair product on her child who had a coconut allergy knowing the kid was allergic. Are you freaking kidding me? The video of the man holding his dog as it died from am overdose his ex-wife gave it will stick with me forever. I've seen all the NSFL shit, and been on the internet for a long time, but for some reason that one makes me so scared, angry, and sad at the same time. Kind of related but not. Hardest I've cried in a long time was a picture of a grown man holding his dog who had just suffocated in a house fire. I was wrecked for a good hour just losing my shit at this picture. I don't know about most, but there was this one series of posts I was following with a friend. We saw a post during COVID quarantine times about someone trying to set up a private gym in his garage or something. It was interesting to us because my friend had his own little private gym. We checked his post history and he had been asking around for advice on how to do it, if he needed a license, insurance, how much to charge people, and other various questions. Basically the comments were all saying how it's a bad idea and he shouldn't do it for liability reasons and whatnot, as I don't think the guy wanted to pay for health insurance or something like that. A few months later there was a new post from the guy about how someone had died using their private gym and what they should do now. I probably misremembered bits as this happened a couple years ago now, but I do remember all the comments on the last post calling him out pretty hard. How about one of the all-time biggest Reddit accounts belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell? The account posted every day for like 10 plus years and not a single post in 2 years since she was arrested for sex trafficking. There was an Ask thread looking to hear from people that had legally killed someone. A guy posted saying that he was gaming with his noise-cancelling headphones and an intruder had entered his home and was raping his wife. He didn't hear anything until he removed his headphones, walked into the bedroom, and killed the guy. Every time I put on gaming headphones I think about that couple and wonder how they are doing. Fuck, that's absolutely terrifying. Don't remember where I read it exactly, but I found once a comment of a guy explaining how he was part of a subreddit that wanted to imitate the Truman Show. They basically chose a random person on Reddit and they would follow him around commenting on all the posts he would be active in. Edit. Apparently a few people who took part in that sub, Arthur Trumanplan, said that it was actually pretty wholesome for the Truman as they were writing only uplifting comments on his threads, and the Truman said he liked it in the end when they revealed it, so I guess it was not as creepy in this case. That's funny but also fucking psychotic. Not the most fucked up, and the authenticity was questioned, but that couple who had a horrible first child, son, that finally drove the mother to beat him near death and abandon him. The last straw that caused her to flip out was they caught him cutting their baby daughter's face. What I really remember is how calmly the husband asked the wife, as he was holding their baby daughter, "Is he dead?" I fucking hope so. And, of course, I don't have a link. I remember that. Wish I had a link. So fucked up. Edit. Here it is. https://www.reddit.com/r/confessions/comments/c93n /I underscore stood underscore by underscore and underscore allowed underscore my underscore wife underscore to underscore almost underscore kill underscore hour / The guy who posted a series of stories about a foreman who was rude to him on a job site. After a series of update posts about how the company forced the foreman to apologize, then his wife releases an update saying the guy was killed in a car accident. Probably the only thing on Reddit that made my heart drop into my stomach. He had such a beautiful way with words. The dude whose son sodomized the dog and wrecked his marriage. That was crazy. The dog had a huge change of behavior and the husband took it to the vet who said it was sodomized. He freaked out and asked his son, who admitted he didn't tell his wife as it was father-son stuff. Then he caught the kid in the act of sexual stuff with the dog. He decided to tell the wife then and she did not believe the husband at all, and the son said the dad was actually doing it to the dog. She took the son's side. https://houston.her/.com/05/child-eyes-after-grandma-forces-her-to-dash-mom-watches/ This is a mother and grandmother who caught their very young daughter sneaking a sip of alcohol. So what do? They force the child to drink the entire bottle on her knees. Child died of alcohol poisoning. Article says the little girl's blood alcohol level was 0.680. That poor baby. It just makes me sick. Grandma says I went too far and ruined everyone's lives. Yeah, no shit, lady. Relationship advice post by a husband started by saying that his wife isn't the smartest cookie in the jar. The couple was struggling financially, living month to month, but they get by. Had kids too. Wife suddenly gets the genius idea that they could make a bunch of cash if their car crashed and got written off. Happened to one of her friends who won an insurance claim after driving into a ditch and was encouraging others to do so. Husband says no every time wife talks about it, explains reasons why and finally makes her promise not to talk about it at all. Next week, the guy gets a